What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future of this company. I'm also going to be talking about where I see the share price going based off technical analysis and what I think is going to play out, because tomorrow is the big day. We have CPI numbers coming out, and these are going to be very important for the market, for our economy for the next few weeks and months, and they're very important. I'm also going to talk about what's going on in China and how this has been affecting Tesla's deliveries before I end this video with some tweets from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk, as we have some major autopilot updates. Now, before I bring any of that up, before I talk about what's happening to the share price, what the technicals are showing, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull with my link down below and deposit any amount of money, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You are guaranteed 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. Once again, that's free money, and you could always sell these 5 free stocks and buy some Tesla shares for free. So this is a limited time offer to get some free Tesla stock. The offer ends in just 1 week, so please check it out to get those free Tesla shares. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we were down a little bit harder than I thought we'd be, and I did predict that we would kind of trade a little bit sideways in this upper range for today, but we ended up dropping a little bit lower than I thought. But I also told you guys that I went over the bearish scenario with you guys too and talked about how that's a possibility, and I prepared you if you were watching the price action. So what happened was, in my previous video, yeah, the prediction isn't always correct, but I also drew out this line right here, right? That $1,010 level of support and also the $1,000 level. I told you guys that if we broke below 1,010, then we have to see if 1,000 holds. The second 1,000 didn't hold. I told you guys that the next key level would be 975. I drew out the white line right here. And what happened was we actually closed right over there, which just shows that we do have some support around that range. So I did prepare you guys if you watched my previous video, but my prediction wasn't as correct as I thought it would be, because I didn't think the market would tank this hard for a Monday, but there was a lot of FUD coming out, a lot of negative news all over the place that played a role. But for Tesla, going forward, this is what I think is going to happen, right? I do think we're going to continue to drop. I'm going to show you where I see this thing retracing to, but even though we may continue to drop, I see us seeing a very good reversal relatively soon. Now, I know that sounds like crazy. I know a lot of people are saying the market's about to crash. It's the end of the world. Well, this is exactly what happened last time, and yet we saw this thing run. So I do see Tesla seeing a pretty good reversal in the next upcoming weeks. I'm going to show you exactly why. Now, before we do that, check this out right here. We have potential inflationary numbers coming out for March. So, for those of you who don't know, that one of the ways that economists and many investors measure inflation is through CPI data. Now, CPI is not the perfect way of measuring inflation because the data tends to be skewed depending on what sample you're trying to use, for instance. But this is accepted by many investors, which is why it's very important. And because of that, that's why it's such a big factor determining on what on earth is happening. So, the last time we had CPI come out, it was for the month of February, and it was 7.9%. So people said that that's probably close to what inflation was at. And we need inflation to be at around 2 to 2.5%, right? We're at 7.9% for February. So the numbers for March are coming out tomorrow at, I think, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So 30 minutes before the market opens, we're going to see the numbers. The estimate right now is 8.4%. And I think other estimates say like 8.3%. So here's what you have to remember. If somehow inflation is below 8% or the CPI numbers, the market is going to rally. We're going to see a very good green day if it's below 8%, but I find that very unlikely considering what has been happening to the markets, considering what's happening in Ukraine and everything like that. I mean, if you look at energy prices and the cost of goods, it's just not looking too pretty right now. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, if it's between 8 and 8.3%, it won't be too bad because that is where the expectation tends to be. But if it's at 8.4% or higher, I do expect us to see some very volatile price action that could cause us to drop a little bit hard. So this is what you should be looking out for the market. So Right now, I think the market is just preparing for that. I wouldn't say it's priced in quite yet. And even the SPY has this like big gap right here. So that just shows the SPY is going to recover relatively soon. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It depends on the data, which is why I can't make a perfect prediction. It depends on the data. We have to wait and see what the data suggests before we get a good idea. But looking at Tesla, what should you be looking at? I think this is what's on everyone's minds. The key level is this right here. I'm going to draw a horizontal line here. It's very obvious. The $950 range. Be on the lookout for 950 if we do end up dropping. And if that somehow does not hold us, another key level I think is that like where this price action was right here. Around the 940 is another price action that's going to be very important. 940, and then we have, I'm seeing from right here. I used a retracement before, which is how I calculated this. If I do it again, it's going to take too long. So that's why I'm just doing this as quickly as I can to make this easier for you guys. But these are the key levels to be looking out for. It's really hard for me to predict exactly where we're going to retrace to. You'd have to watch the chart in real time. But as of right now, my key level for now is 950. If that doesn't hold, we'll see if we go to 940. And if that doesn't hold, we could go as low as 925. If it's that bad, it depends on the inflationary data. But like I said before, it's not the end of the world. And I honestly don't see us dropping as low as 925. I find that to be very unlikely, but you never know with Tesla, right? So the key level for me, if we were to retrace, are these yellow ones I'm drawing out, right? This yellow range right here, that 950 to 940 range. Be on the lookout for this potential bounce. So be very, very optimistic as well, because remember, as we were descending, we formed a ton of gaps. And Tesla does have their earnings report, I think, in like 1 to 2 weeks. So that's going to be very important too. Their earnings could announce the stock split or something else, which is why I told you guys that look, this week could be a little bit bearish. Maybe for the next day or two, maybe 3 days, we could see some bearish price action, some sideways action before we find our support. But then going forward, I expect these gaps to get filled perhaps by the later days of the week, maybe by next week, and that should bring us right back up above 1025. I do think we're going to get a nice balance and a recovery because these gaps generally don't stay unfilled for way too long. Perhaps within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they should get filled, which is why I do see Tesla seeing a very, very healthy recovery. Now, another thing that is kind of hurting Tesla, I think, is the lockdowns in Shanghai. However, there are some reports coming out that it's not affecting them as bad as some people would have expected. So I just want to put this out here. So Tesla, NEO, a lot of companies are getting hurt by the restrictions. I wouldn't say it's that horrible because at the end of the day, it is a serious issue. It did lead to the shutdown of the Shanghai Gigafactory, but as a result, we're seeing this data right here. So the data was very impressive, but the lockdown, it didn't start until like towards the end of March. So I wouldn't have expected it to really affect their numbers that badly. But if you go down, we're seeing that they delivered over 65,000 vehicles produced at the Gigafactory in Shanghai for March, which is still very impressive and showing 100% year-over-year growth despite the shutdown. Now, once again, that's amazing, but I really want to see how long this shutdown really continues. I really wish the best for all the people there. So we're going to have to look out for that first before we really, see how this affects their numbers. Because if this goes on for 2 weeks into April, it's going to be really bad, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I really don't think it's going to last that much longer. I think they should deal with the issue quickly, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, anyways, the one last thing I wanted to mention about Tesla is what happens when we get that bounce, right? So what I'm saying is I see us maybe dropping if CPI numbers are bad, and they're more likely to be bad than good, if I'm going to be real with you guys. So we should get that bounce in this area, see some price action here. And once we start running up, all these lines become resistance levels, right? This is a clear example of that happening. So when we start running up, remember, we're going to have some resistance at 975, which we should be able to break. I think stronger resistance is going to be around that $1,000 range than 1,010. Somehow that's another range that I found from the retracement. Then after that, we have lots of room that could really take us to that 1,050 range. I think there should be a line there, but like I said before, be prepared for that. So, anyways, my thesis is this. If the CPI numbers are very bad, which they most likely will be, I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm not promising that. We just have to see the numbers first. We're very likely to see that drop, into this 950 range, maybe as low as 940, and the lowest we could go is maybe 925, but I think that's very unlikely. I would say the 950 range is very possible, and we should get a bounce there, see some action in this range, and going forward, I do expect us to slowly creep right back up and fill these gaps, bringing us above 1000 relatively soon. So like I said before, I don't see this as a long-term bear market. I just see us seeing a very good bounce, and I don't think this is going to lead to some kind of massive stock market crash that's going to last for 12 months, like some people are saying. I don't necessarily see that based off this data. We could look at other indicators just real quick. I mean, if you look at the RSI, you could see Tesla's very oversold on the 2 hour candles, very, very oversold. And let's actually look at the volume real quick. We are seeing some descending volume. So you could see right over here, it's just dropping and dropping and dropping. And that's often just an indicator that there is a lot of selling that's going on and there is some fear every now and then. And it's just totally normal because during these times, there is lots of uncertainty, and sometimes stocks make very unpredictable moves because of that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this right here. This person known as Zach, they asked Elon Musk, can Tesla please come up with the autopilot limits from 80 to 85 or 90 on vision cars? Us road trippers will thank you. And Elon Musk said it's coming very soon. So to me, that's a very good update for people going on long road trips where the speed limit is relatively high. That would be very awesome for not just Tesla, but as people use the full self-driving technology, it's going to require them to become safer and better and really, really improve our ways of life going forward. So, anyways, if you're a long term investor, don't worry about this. I say this every day. Don't worry about the price action from a day to day basis because we know eventually this company has the audacity and the capability and potential to improve every single day. And we are going to see the share price really show that for many years to come. For the short term, please prepare based off what I told you, based off these, these resistance and support levels. And also, if you want to day trade it, be very prepared based off this because CPI could be very unpredictable, and we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. With that out of the way, I want to thank you all for listening. Have a great, great, great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.